Welcome to Truth Talk Live.
All right, let's talk.
The truth is, I can't hide it, I can't hold it no more.
A daily program powered by the Truth Network,
This is kind of a great thing, and I'll tell you why.
where pop culture, current events, and theology all come together.
Speak
Your mind.
And now, here's today's Truth Talk Live host.
Good afternoon, all. This is Jamal Womble as your temporary host today. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate that. We're going to be getting into a heavy topic today. I feel like it's going to be relevant for today's times. What's going on in Israel, the hostages being freed, the Palestinian argument. One would think that after the hostages were freed, that we would have kind of like a kumbaya moment. We can all celebrate and everybody's doing fine. The war temporarily being over, hopefully permanently being over. But we still have a lot of people that are still kind of picking sides, unfortunately. So when I was asked to sub in by the great Mr. Robbie Dilmore, Christian car guy, I said, well, I just don't want to sit here and talk. I kind of want to do like Stu. I want to get right into the meat of the topic today, one of the hot button issues, and that's going to be the Islamic faith. And today I have an expert with me, Miss Laura Zifer, soon to be Dr. Zifer. So I'm practicing calling you Doctor, Miss Zifer. According to your Facebook page, because I had to do this quickly, Miss Zifer is a Christian apologist at An Affair with Reason. She is also a board member at Women in Apologetics. She went to theological seminary at Birmingham and studied at Denver and also studied right here in Duke. And yes, folks, she is a local apologist right here in the Triad area. Look her up. I've been to her conference at Ministry to Muslims. This was in the Kannapolis area hosted by our friend George Saig. So I've heard her speak. Thought I knew a little bit about the Muslim faith, but when Miss Zifer and the other panelists spoke, my knowledge just went up exponentially. So with that being said, welcome to the program, Miss Laura Zifer.
Thanks so much for having me. I'm excited to see you again.
Oh,
Been a couple months.
It has. It's been too long. I also went to her church as well, and I'm trying to get her out to my church. So it's nice to have a local apologist in the area. So that's going to be the topic. Call in, folks. Let me know what your stance is. If we say something that you agree with, let us know. If we say something that you don't agree with, hey, we're all civil here. And also, before we start, I want to recognize the birthday of Charlie Kirk. He was somebody I looked up to. His birthday was yesterday. For those that are watching, I have my Charlie Kirk shirt on. He might have said some things that might have been taken the wrong kind of way, but he still was a Christian first, and he wanted to bring truth and knowledge to the people. And we can all not disagree on everything, but we can still be civil in our agreements and disagreements. So I just wanted to get that out of the way, and I'll turn the floor over to Miss Laura Zifer.
Yeah, so we're going to be talking about Islam, and there's a lot going on with Islam lately. People have been asking me, what do you think about Muslims in the West? What do you think about Italy's recent proposed bill to restrict certain behaviors, practices that are unique to Islam?
Right.
So we can talk about that. Of course, as you mentioned, there's the Gaza-Israel thing.
Yeah.
And right after the hostages were released, the Hamas publicly executed 8 men, shot them in the back of the head, one at a time. And it's it's interesting that so many people seem to still think somehow that Islam is a religion of peace. It is absolutely not a religion of peace. That's not to say that all Muslims are violent, of course. That's entirely different. But Islam itself, the ideology, is actually very violent and does, in fact, command Muslims to end the lives of non-Muslims wherever they find them. And so, especially as we have a lot of government administrations vying for power who seem intent on bringing Muslims here, opening the border, things like that. I think it's such an important topic. This I'm been doing a lot of reading on the founding of America for my dissertation and natural law and topics like that. And I keep coming across quotes over and over from the founders talking about how this republic can only survive if the people, if the populace are self-governing, moral and virtuous people.
Oh, thank you for that.
And so it is incredibly important if we want to keep our freedom, like your shirt says. Love that shirt. Freedom.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah.
Yeah. If we want to keep our freedom, we do actually need to be discerning about who comes to this country.
Yes. Because
the country will not survive under a populace that has radically different worldviews and doesn't self-regulate, autonomously self-impose morality, biblical truth on their own lives. And when you invite in other worldviews, then the government has to start stepping in, taking over more and more, getting more and more involved in things.
Wow.
So I'm looking at trying to put together an article, and I'm seeing just dozens upon dozens upon dozens of quotes from founding fathers and early state constitutions and things like that, talking about how critical it is to have morality and virtue if there's any hope for this republic to survive.
All right. Well, hold on for that. I told you she was good, guys. So we're going to have Miss Zifer hold on with that thought process real quick. We have an Austin from Winston-Salem coming in. Austin, you're on Truth Talk Live. Thank you for calling in, sir.
Hey, good to be on with you guys. And so I'll just jump right in if that's okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so about Islam, my understanding is that on average, Muslim families have one more child. Okay, so like they have like 3 children on average, and say a Christian family on average has two children. And so they have a higher amount of children than Christian families do.
Yeah.
And then that's one of the main reasons why Islam is growing so rapidly. I mean, it's the fastest growing religion. And it's, I think, by 20, maybe or sooner, by 2050, it's supposed to be larger than Christianity.
I've heard that
number.
And
then you see them getting involved in the UK, and they're basically, very prominent in the UK and in leadership positions. And so I was going to ask you guys, what are some of the ways that you think America and Americans can protect from us losing our Christian identity?
Yeah, that's a good question, Austin, and I'm going to let, of course, Ms. Zifer answer that. I just want to have this understood. We're not against anybody who is of Arabic origin. We're just talking about the faith. As Ms. Zifer told me before the show, there is a difference between Christians and Christianity. So we want to separate Muslims or Arabic people from Islamic faith. We're not attacking Arabic people. We're just having a discussion about some concerns we see with the Islamic faith. So, Ms. Zifer, if I didn't cause you to forget the question, if you could respond to Mr. Austin, please.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I think that's a great question because we do need to be diligent. I think one of the things that we can do that I alluded to is we do need to be informed about the immigration policies of those we are looking at voting for. We need to be writing into our leaders, our representatives, and telling them what we'd like to see. The system really does need to be completely reformed, and I think it's really important. It was important to the founders, and it's equally important today that people who come to this country to be a part of this great experiment are on the same page as far as worldview.
Right.
And so, of course, when I appreciate Jamal's comment, about ethnicity and such. Of course, what color your skin is or what your ethnic heritage is or whatever, that doesn't matter. But the worldview absolutely matters.
It does. And hold that thought. We'll be hitting a hard break. Hold on, Austin. We also have the great Matt Slick on the line. Call in 866-348-7884. Truth Talk Live.
Truth Talk Live.
You're listening to the Truth Network and truthnetwork.com.
Welcome back to Truth Talk Live. This is Jamal Womble subbing in for the substitute, so I'm the sub guy. But we're going to have a good time today. We're going to talk about an interesting topic. We were just leaving off with Austin. We have Matt Slick awaiting. Hopefully he's patient because I really want to get to Mr. Matt Slick. We also have a Sean from Winston. We see you, Sean. We're going to get to you. But hey, if you want to call in yourself, the call-in number is 866-348-7884, or that's 866-34-TRUTH. So Miss Zifer, you were finishing up with Mr. Austin there. Yeah,
another important point, I think, is that we need to learn a little bit about Islam. Islam is it's not something that we need to all become, experts on or anything like that. But people should know a little bit about what it teaches, what it calls for,
right,
and be able to engage it in conversation with a Muslim, explain a little bit about it to non-Muslims, and be ready to share reasons for the hope that we have in Christ, as well as reasons for why we're not Muslims. If you're only a Christian because you were raised in a Christian home, well, it might be time to learn some evidence for it as well.
Definitely right.
And have some reasons for that other than my mom told me so.
Amen to that.
And if you don't know what's wrong with, what's problematic and false about Islam, there's a whole lot to learn, but there are a few quick little cases to be made that are not too difficult. One that I'll just point out quickly is that the Quran actually affirms the divine inspiration, perfect preservation, and ongoing authority of the Gospels. And yet it contradicts the Gospels all over the place. So the Quran cannot be true while affirming the Gospels and yet contradicting them on our major doctrines and tenets. Like Islam teaches, the Quran teaches that Jesus never claimed to be God. He wasn't God, and he wasn't crucified. And of course he couldn't have been resurrected from the dead if he wasn't killed. It says he was taken directly to heaven by Allah. So just short little things like that. There are a couple quick arguments like that to be made that I think can go a long way in giving Muslims something to think about.
Definitely. Well, that was a lot of information, Austin. Were you able to absorb that fire hose, sir?
Yeah, I took in a lot of that, and that was great, and I think it's very helpful. If I could ask one more thing, I've often also heard that Islam teaches, if we talk about Islam, what it teaches as opposed to Muslims individuals, sometimes they're okay with being deceptive, and maybe they would. What I mean by that is maybe they befriend you at first, but then when they get in positions of power, then they may show you their true colors, and they may try to rule over you, and then eventually they don't mind death or killing people at the very end of the matter. People don't submit to Allah. And so I'm wondering, is that true? And then also, what advice would you give to, like, Republicans or people voting? Like, what if we ever get to a point where we're voting between a conservative Republican who also happens to be a Muslim versus, say, and that's the only option, versus, say, the other side is more of a Democrat or liberal type side? What if someone is left between those two choices when they're voting, say, in America in local elections or even higher?
Yeah, well, I'll answer that last one first. It's related to the previous one. I would say get involved in the primaries and don't vote for either of those options because part of the reason is, and I have to keep it short, but part of the reason is what you said right prior to that, was that Islam does in fact teach deception and lying for the advancement of Islam.
Yep.
And so Muhammad regularly lied and deceived, broke peace treaties, and encouraged his followers to do the same for the sake of Islam. Allah is a deceiver. The reason Muslims think that Jesus was not crucified, even though all of the eyewitnesses say he was, is because the Quran teaches that Allah made it appear as if Jesus was crucified when really he wasn't. So he's a great deceiver. He says as much, the Quran says as much, that Allah is the greatest of all deceivers. And so Republican or not Republican, we cannot allow Muslims to be in office in the United States of America. It is a religion that calls for the complete takeover of the land by political force, power, by violence, by whatever means necessary, including deception when they're in the minority, and then overwhelming power and violence when they have the resources to take over.
All right. Well, thank you very much for your call, Austin. We're going to get to Mr. Matt Slick. Matt Slick, you're on. You're quite welcome. Mr. Matt Slick, thank you very much for your patience, sir. You are on Truth Talk Live.
Hey, Jamal, thanks for having me on, and no problem waiting. I'm enjoying the conversation.
Good deal. For those who don't know, Mr. Matt Slick is also a Christian apologist. He is also a host of a show called Matt Slick Live, which is going to air later on at 6 p.m. He has a weekly show at 6 p.m. And he is actually one of the reasons why I have grown so much in my Christian faith and how I know so much about other faiths. He's a great debater. He also knows about science, logic, and I'm so glad that he called in. Mr. Matt Slick, what do you have for us today, sir?
Well, I'll just agree with what you guys say. And thanks for the nice words.
Yes, sir.
Thanks for being on again. And nice talking to you again, Laura.
Yes, yeah, great to hear from you. Yep.
I love your work.
Thank you.
It's what Laura said. There's, taqiyya is the issue of deception that's allowed in Islam under certain conditions. Generally speaking, the Quran does not approve of deception out of Surah 242.
Mm-hmm.
Not supposed to mix falsehood or conceal the truth while you know it. But on the other hand, in 328:16-106, you can practice taqiyya, which is deception, in order to make sure that you're not injured, or if you want to really, under persecution, when you expand the faith. Then there's a related doctrine called kitman, refers to withholding information or just being silent, so that you can further your cause, let's just say. Now, that's just what she said there. And I love what she said about Surah 4, 157, that Allah made someone look like Jesus to be crucified, but he wasn't. And what I'll often do with Muslims is ask, who is the one who made it look like Jesus was crucified? And they say Allah.
Yeah,
exactly.
So it's Allah. So Allah is the one who caused Christianity that Islam condemns, and Allah is the one who deceived people by his direct hand. How can you trust him to not be a deceiver with you? There's lots of ways you can go into that. Now, we could talk about government, too, and compatibility and all kinds of stuff, but hey, it's up to you, man.
I'm glad you're here, and we have two fire hoses on the show today. We are so blessed, and we are going to be going to a break here in about less than a minute. Can you hang on, Mr. Matt Slick?
Hey, man, for you, always. No problem.
Good deal. So, guys, we are going to be, in some audiences, we're going to be losing you, but you can keep up with the conversation. You can keep up with us on truthnetwork.com. That's truthnetwork.com. You can also keep up with us on the app. We have an app on your app store that you can listen to. This will be a podcast also later on, so check out the podcast. We also want to thank our sponsors, Mr. getting used to saying that, Mighty Muscadine Juice. Me and Ms. Zifer are drinking that right now, feeling refreshed. We also want to thank another sponsor, Le Bleu Bottled Water. So just help keeps the lights on. And we want to thank all of the other people that are affiliated with Truth Network. I want to thank Mr. Robbie Dillmore, St. Nick, for helping run the show. But for the other markets that do keep us, stay tuned. We're not going to go anywhere. We're just getting started. And while we're waiting for the break to come up, also wanted to say this for those that are going to lose us. If you're not saved, today is a day of salvation. Find somebody, pull over on the side of the road, go find a pastor, get saved. Yes, this is a talk show, but we ultimately want to get people saved. That is the main thing about this show. And if you're already saved, go find somebody that is not saved. This is part of the Great Commission. that we're all assigned to do. This is not something that you just sit on and hold in your heart. Go out there and do the Great Commission. Get saved. Get right with Jesus. We'll be right back with more Truth Talk Live. Hold on.
Truth Talk Live.
You're listening to the Truth Network and truthnetwork.com.
Welcome back to Truth Talk Live. This is Jamal Womble subbing in for Stu and Robbie Billmore. So as I said before, I'm the sub, but we're making it through. And just to recap, we are talking about the Islamic faith and what concerns does that pose to society, to people in general. And again, this is not an attack on anybody of Arabic origin, but we're just having a conversation respectfully and civilly about any concerns that we see out there. We left off with Mr. Matt Slick, and it seems like you're on. Sean, thank you for calling back. We want to see what you had to say. And this is a question for Matt Slick and producer Saint Nick. Miss Zifer had the idea of having Matt Slick on as a co-host on the phone, so he can probably answer any questions. Slick, can you do that, sir?
I'm not sure I understand. On the phone, I'm on the phone. So,
well, we want to keep you around. So if anybody has any questions, you can still be on the phone. And
yeah, it's no problem.
Okay, good.
Whatever you want, man.
All right, good deal. And
even though I've met you in person, I still like you. So
well, good. I'm glad I didn't run you off there. And Nick is giving his head nod, like the potentate he is. So I'm glad to get the head nod from Saint Nick there. So that's good. So Slick will come back to you. Sean from Winston-Salem, we're going to roll on over to you, sir. Thank you for calling in to Truth Talk Live. What do you have for us, sir?
Good afternoon, Jamal. I think you're doing a fabulous job at your calling, and that's to be on the radio. Miss Zifer. What a joy it is to have somebody that's studying this particular movement of Islam. And I know I'd love to ask you, did not historically America's infidel founding fathers have quite a nightmare dealing with the sons and daughters of Islam from earliest days, like from the piracy issues to the creation of the U.S. Navy? Any historical perspective?
They do. That's an area that I am wanting to read more about, but I do know that it's been a problem from the founding of America that Thomas Jefferson was paying, his administration was sending money to different Islamic regimes to stop attacking American ships and to leave Americans in peace. And so, yes, and he's probably not the only president or administration who did so. So, yes, this has been a problem actually for much of the world for 1,400 years, to be honest. Since the beginning of Islam, it has been a religion that has largely spread by the sword and has quickly taken over large swaths of land and governments and everything else. It's not just a religion as we think of religion in the West, where we have separation of church and state, but it is also a political ideology. And so you may notice that when Muslims come to Western countries, they quickly run for, a lot of times will run for office if they are able.
Interesting.
And so I wish I had brought the information with me, but a friend sent me a couple weeks ago a list of all of the towns and cities in England where Muslims are the mayor, and it's basically every single major city and decent-sized town. Yeah,
it's 9 of the big ones, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you, Sean.
Yeah, and that's a big objective, a goal for those who are in the know, certainly with Islam, who know their scriptures, who know the life of their false prophet Muhammad, that taking over political power is a priority.
Yes, and there seems to be an incredible funding from the Islamic Brotherhood, so-called Muslim Brotherhood.
Yeah.
Would you call, is Muslim not a PR term, ma'am, in your estimation, rather than calling Islamics what they are, and that is the sons and daughters of Islam?
I don't know the answer to that. I wonder if is Matt still on the line?
Yep, Matt is still
here. Do you happen
to
know anything about that, Matt? I have never come across that claim.
Could you repeat the question?
Yeah, is it more appropriate? Oh, go ahead.
Oh, no, sorry, Dr. Zifer. Is Islam, would it be better to cause... we have Islamic friends, and I've stopped calling them Muslims because I believe that's a PR term that makes their movement, and I'd argue not quite the religion, acceptable to our Western thought and sensitivities. But I said, you're actually sons and daughters of Islam. And I said, so I would prefer to call you Islamic rather than a Muslim. Is that fair? As a Christian, as somebody that wants to share Jesus with them, but also be truthful.
Yeah, I think it's fair. If you define your terms and clarify your intent while you're doing that, then sure. So, Muslim is a person who follows Islam, and Islamic is just an adjective pertaining to the religion of Islam. So they're kind of interchangeable terms, but I think that it's fair to use different terms as long as you're defining them and explaining why you're doing them, because it can open the door for more conversation and witnessing.
Yes, indeed, and it's done with love and kindness, but I said, let's all be truthful. I said, I'm the worst form of I'm the worst form of infidel you'll find, because I believe Jesus is the Son of the living God. He is God incarnate, all man, all God. So we have different views on what you think Jesus is, and yet we talk about this Jesus. So if you're a daughter or son of Islam, I'd love to hear your perspective.
Yeah, it is a term you're using that's different. And, but a Muslim is someone who is in subjection to the teachings of what we call Islam. So it just depends on what you're doing and why you want to do it. But
that's fair, sir.
I will often use different terms in different ways to communicate with people to try and get them to see something differently. Because one of the things that happens in false religions is called snapping. It's a psychological phenomenon where someone just believes whatever that group or authority tells them. And it's difficult to get them out of that. And inside of Islam, Roman Catholicism, Eastern Orthodoxy, Mormonism, Jehovah's Witnesses, you'll have certain kind of things that are said that they just react to, they don't think through. So if you say something blah, 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 Quran, well, that's one thing. But if you say, if you're a son of Islam, they might say, well, what do you mean by that? Now you're off script, and it could be advantageous to use terms like that in that way.
Appreciate it, sir. I found so, yes. And the other description and understanding, Dr. Zifer, on Allah as well. Mm-hmm. I say, is not Allah actually Abraham's daddy's, one of his false gods, his concrete gods that he sold? Because that's where Ishmael connection, and actually, is Allah not the God that you think he is, the same God that we worship? Rather, he's the moon god.
Yeah, it comes out of the moon god, which is why the crescent moon is a symbol of Islam. Oh. Incidentally, when you look at a crescent moon, the more open it is, that means in that culture, in that country, the less dominance Islam has. And the longer those points come to encircle means the more power and influence they have. That's just a little tidbit of info. In fact, the first time I ever heard the Islamic call to prayer was in Pergamum in Turkey. And we're up a couple thousand feet, and I got to hear it for the first time ever. And I'm going to tell you, give me the willies. Mm-hmm. It sounded to me, this is my subjective opinion, but it sounded to me like a bunch of demons screaming.
That's what it sounded to me, yeah.
Dr. Slag, I agree with you, sir. It's terrifying. I understand that in Minneapolis, those calls are now being heard in American cities like Minneapolis. Is that true?
Well, I'm glad you got to that, Sean. I was going to get to that later, but go ahead, you guys.
Yeah, it is true. In fact, here in Idaho, there was a proposal for a mosque to have that ability to make all that stupid noise. And basically, the good old boys here said, no, it's not happening.
Wow.
Yep.
Good.
And they meant it. And I could tell you stories related to that. But here's something to think about. We live in a constitutional republic. We do not live in a democracy. I wish we would stop saying that.
Yes.
Amen. Amen,
now,
sir.
Sharia is the all-encompassing moral and legal framework in Islam, derived from the Quran and Hadith, and guided by what the interpretations of particular imams will say at the time. But it is all-encompassing and in that it covers behavior, beliefs, your ethics, legal dealings. Now, this is what's incredibly important, because what Islam does is it subjugates the source of law and puts it under the banner of Islam. Mm-hmm. It cannot work with a constitutional republic. It cannot.
Right.
Just think, I tell people, think of Islam as a cancer in a human body. Mm-hmm. Once it's introduced, if it's not taken care of, it will grow and it will destroy the host.
Wow.
So Islam restricts religious freedom. There are different categories of religious freedom depending on which faith you are. Christians are to be under subjection and pay the jizya, the tax, and they're not allowed to have certain responsibilities and roles above and over Muslims. So they also deny the equality of law between Muslims and non-Muslims. I can tell you stories. People have told me about this. Anyway, it changes the role of government, where if government is to help the people, now their idea of the government is to glorify Allah, which is ultimately a demonic god. Mm-hmm. And in the adaptability of law, Islam prevents legal adaptation based on new technology, public consent, and various things. Not that we want to do that in Christianity, but it says, no, we have to be under the religious order anchored in the 6th century. And that this means then that civil rights, which we enjoy here, does not exist in the concept of Islam. So not the way we think it. And so we have to understand is that Islam is not compatible with any religious system, any governmental system, especially a constitutional republic. They want to get in and they want to dominate, they want to rule, and they want to subjugate the world to Islam. I could talk a lot more about it, but there you go.
There you go. And Sean, thank you for calling in, sir. We got about a minute left in this segment. So, appreciate your call. That was a great phone call. And, God bless you also. And we look forward to hear you call back later.
Thanks, Jamal. Quick thing. Dr. Zifer and Matt Slick, if you guys could do a seminar, we'd all be there. Thank you, guys.
Okay. Sounds fun.
Good deal. Thanks, God bless.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
Good idea.
Yeah, it would be. From your lips to stew in God's ears. So I'll be the first one to buy a ticket. So, guys, out there in Truth Talk Live, listening to Radio Nation, we have about 50 seconds left. So I want to give out the number again to anybody that wants to call in. The number is 866-348-7884. That's 866-34-TRUTH. I'll go through it one more time if I was too fast. The call-in number to call in and weigh in on your opinion is, once again, 866-348-7884 or 866-34-TRUTH. Not as quite as low and smooth as in Matt Slick's voice, but hey, we got it out there. All right, guys, stay tuned. We'll be right back with more Truth Talk Live.
Truth Talk Live.
You're listening to the Truth Network and truthnetwork.com.
Welcome back to Truth Talk Live. We are here with soon-to-be Dr. Laura Zifer. We have Mr. Matt Slick, Christian apologist and famous debater, on the line with us. Call in, guys, to the show. We're talking about the Muslim faith and the concerns that it has and it poses to society, to people in general, and also, from what I hear, possibly other Muslims. So we're talking about that. The number is 866-348-7884 or call in for 866-34-TRUTH. Before we move on any further, I want to give the floor to Ms. Zifer about how you can contact her. She is available on social media. She's available for conferences, for speaking engagements. As I said, I saw her and Matt Slick speak at the Ministry to Muslim conference a little while ago that George Said had set up in Kannapolis. Great conference. I learned a lot. They have an incredible amount of knowledge, things that we need to know in this country. Again, this is not hateful to anybody of Arabic origin. but we're just talking about things that concern us. And as a Christian living in America or anywhere, you want to know about any kind of threat that's out there, any kind of concern that's out there, so you can address it. And one of my favorite quotes is from Mr. Edmund Burke. All it takes for evil to succeed is for good men to do nothing. Let me please repeat that. All it takes for evil to succeed is for good men to do nothing. And this also includes women. So if you are one of those people that says, I'm going to pray and let God take care of it, and, it'll work itself out. Well, what do you do with the scripture, faith without works is dead? So you can sit there and pray and don't move. You're not living within a biblical term there, within the biblical worldview there. It's good to pray, yes, but we have to pray and go. Again, that's part of the Great Commission. God said that we have to go to all the world and preach the gospel, not just sit on your couch and just pray about it. We are to pray and go. So if this is kind of rubbing you the wrong way, yeah, I'm talking to you, but with truth and love. We need your voice. There are people in your circle that nobody else can touch. And you don't have to have theological degrees like Matt Slick and Laura Zifer here. All it takes is for you to say something. Make a conversation. Be comfortable with it. Heck, you're talking to a guy that used to be in those shoes. I didn't want to do that, but the more I found my voice, the more I got passionate about sharing Jesus, it became so easy. And now it's fun. And all you have to do is just talk about it. For instance, Stu Epperson said at the Wednesday in the Word Bible study a little while ago, he said, okay, guys, you have trouble with evangelizing? Repeat after me. And guys in Radio Land, repeat after me also. What do you think about Jesus? Again, that's all you have to say. What do you think about Jesus? I did that today. And it's like, hey, guy, what do you think about Jesus? As I was going to the recycling center, he's like, oh, man, Jesus is my Lord and Savior. To kind of nutshell. It's like, that's great. That's awesome. And that's all you have to do. So if you repeat those words, congratulations. You are now an evangelist.
And I'll tell you what, while we're talking about Islam, my experience all over the world, including talking to Muslims who have come from other countries but live in the U.S., is that they love talking about religion and politics. And if you ask a Muslim, what do you think about Jesus? You're probably going to get a really enjoyable conversation, a really fruitful opportunity and conversation. They're going to enjoy it. You're going to enjoy it. Yeah. And you'll probably make a new friend. You probably will get invited over for dinner. That's what tends to happen to me when I ask Muslims what they think about Jesus, even though we clearly disagree. They're like, oh, finally someone who's willing to talk about something important.
How about that?
And so I want to encourage everybody, don't be intimidated about talking to Muslims. They're actually going to be a lot more open than most people born and raised in the U.S.
Oh, good. Amen to that. So you get a conversation and dinner. I mean, you can't beat that.
Right.
So I didn't mention how they can get in contact with you.
Oh, yes.
So if you could, Ms. Zifer, please mention that, please.
My website is anaffairwithreason.com. anaffairwithreason.com. You can also get there by going to laurazpowell.org. So I've got a blog, multimedia page with interviews I've done and talks I've given, all sorts of a contact page, some other things. My podcast is The Knight and Rose Show, KNIGHT and Rose Show. It's on YouTube as well as anywhere you can get podcasts, and we talk about a lot more than just Islam. I think we've only done 2 episodes on Islam. We talk about all different Christian apologetics topics, including worldview, public policy, things like that. We have a lot of really smart, interesting guests we have interviewed over the last year and a half when I've been really busy working on my doctorate. So check that out.
Good deal. And just say that again real quickly for the guys that didn't have a pen or didn't have their phone ready, or repeat all that way that they can get in contact with you.
Sure. ANAFFAIR with reason, anaffairwithreason.com is the website. And the podcast is The Knight and Rose Show, KNIGHT.
Good deal. And Mr. Matt Slick, we did not forget about you, sir. How can people get in contact with you?
Well, I just sent a $20 bill to my address.
I like it.
Nothing wrong with a little bit of cash, right?
Yeah, just go to carm.org, CARM.org, and that's the website. In fact, it's a little bit of a promotion here. CARM will be 30 years old.
That's right.
On the 25th.
Wow.
Amen.
Yeah,
that is cool.
We've had 168 million visitors. We've got like 5,000 or 6,000 articles there. But you can contact us, me if you want, also at info@carm.org. It's CARM.org, info@carm.org. Real easy.
Good deal. All right. Well, I will take this opportunity to ask one of my own questions. And this goes right along with delving into a hot button topic. This is something Charlie Kirk also addressed, and he can be a straight shooter, and that's fine. But I want to bounce this off of both of you all. And actually I think I might have asked this at the Ministry to Muslims conference, but I'll ask it again for the Truth Live audience. Should Muslims or people, I'll say it this way. Should Muslims be allowed to serve in office in the American Congress?
No, they should not. The reason is because a true Muslim's loyalty is to the Quran and the Hadith. It's not to the office that they would swear allegiance to follow. They must interpret all things that they do for the sake and the advancement of the Islamic religion. Now, that's what Islam teaches. They're true Muslims, so there's an incompatibility there. They may, for a little while, fly under the radar. But here's something a lot of people don't realize about Islam. When they're 1% to 2% of the population, they're peaceful, and they'll subject themselves to various laws. There's 5%, roughly, they're heavy proselytizing to gain converts. That means 5% means 1 in 20 people are now Muslim in the entire country.
Wow.
When it's 5%, then they also push for halal food, and they pressure businesses to comply. Mm-hmm. So a Muslim in office is obligated to follow through with that and desire that and promote that. So when there's 10% of the population, then there's just well documented in varying historical accounts that's happened in various countries where Muslims gain power. At 10%, there's increased lawlessness to ensure their demands. At 20%, there's rioting, sporadic killing, burning of Christian churches and Jewish synagogues. At 40%, there's a lot of attacks, chronic attacks. 60% persecution of non-Muslims, sporadic ethnic cleansing. Sharia tax is instituted, attacks upon infidels, and 80% daily intimidation, violent, state-run ethnic cleansing. So this is what happens. This is the danger of Islam. It is not of God. It is an evil religion. It teaches a false God, a false Christ, a false gospel. It will not play nice with people of any any governmental system. It wants to dominate and take over everything, everywhere, and put it under Sharia law. So no, a true Muslim, cannot hold an office faithfully, cannot hold it faithfully if he is also trying to faithfully hold to Islam. Okay?
And that's a very good and in-depth answer. Hopefully we have time for another question. What happened with Israel's retaliation against Hamas? Was that genocide?
Well, genocide all depends on definitions. So one thing I do in apologetics, I'm constantly asking people to define the terms that they use. So I'll have people tell me genocide, you're doing genocide. Well, what does that mean? And they often don't know. They just repeat what they hear.
Right.
What they want to do is use what's called a pejorative term that has negative connotations. So it's a negative phraseology in order to condemn what it is they don't like by using the words that they pick and they choose. So one of the things about apologetics I teach people is don't let the opposition control the dialogue by controlling what terms you use.
There you go. Yep. Yes.
So I'll say, genocide, what do you mean? What do you mean? Because on October 7th, Israel was attacked. Do they have the right to defend themselves? And I ask people, have you gone through and seen how many pacts and agreements that Israel has made with Muslim counterparts around the area that have been broken always by the Muslims?
Right.
How they're shooting rockets over, how they're coming in and destroying and killing. And
you get about 30 seconds, Matt.
Okay. And so I ask them, let's talk about all of it in light of all of this, because Israel is defending itself. It's had enough. And so it goes in and it's cleaning their clocks and the Gaza Strip, which I think they should.
There you go. Thank you, Mr. Matt Slick. Thank you, Laura Zifer, soon to be Dr. Zifer. Hey, guys, thank you for tuning in. Again, if you're not saved, today's the salvation. That's the most important decision you can make, get saved. And if you are somebody who is saved, go find somebody who is not saved and go get them saved. God bless, guys. Thank you all, and tune in next time.